as soon as you're ready.
Hello.
Yes, you'll need to go mute and back. But when you're testifying, that you can stay unmuted here. So,
Okay.
So that you can see everybody and you're clear? Let's see. We just need Mr. Lloyd back.
Do we need to swear her in, or can we just make a question?
Okay. So, all right. Then, ma'am, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lloyd. Hold a second here.
Sure.
Would you just state and spell your name?
Aisha Jacevicus. That's AJSHEJECEVICUS.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you. Mrs. Jacevicus, are you aware of the complaint that was filed by Ms. Lamoreaux?
I am.
Have you seen a copy of that complaint?
I have.
And the allegations contained therein?
Yes.
As it relates to your role at Izzy's, could you elaborate a little bit as to what your role is there and what you do?
Well, I'm president of this company. I am an owner. I'm the manager. I am also waitress. I do everything. Bartend, dishwash, cook, you name it.
At any time during in your role there at Izzy's, did you have an opportunity to supervise Mrs. Lamoreaux any time?
Yes, I did.
During your supervision of Ms. Lamoreaux, have you ever had the opportunity to discuss with her any training?
Yes.
Could you elaborate as to what that conversation or that training entailed?
Just what the duties of her job entailed and the requirements of what needed to be her daily tasks and routines.
As it relates to, and if you have the exhibits there in front of you, I just wanted to just draw your attention to ERDC 003, just so you'll be aware of where I'm drawing from at this point. If you have that, just let me know.
ERDC 003?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
With regards to that exhibit, that is the complaint that was filed by Ms. Lamoreaux. As stated in this particular complaint, she alleged that in or around January 2018, your husband, Mr. Jacevicus, exposed himself or pulled his penis out and exposed his penis to Ms. Lamoreaux. Are you aware of that incident?
Correct.
When did you first become aware of that incident?
She had sent me a text message end of March when I was in Washington D.C. And just flat out said that, and so end of March.
That time when you were made aware of the incident, what did you do next?
I immediately called her to talk about it.
What, if anything, did you say to her about the incident?
Well, at first she wouldn't answer her telephone. And I thought that was confusing. You're going to send me a message, and which I would take extremely seriously. Most of my employees are women. I take it very, very seriously. She wouldn't answer my phone call. I believe even in the text message, you can see that I had expressed to her what, answer my phone call.
I'm going to step back a minute to something you just mentioned. Now, you stated that you have is it your contention that you have primarily female employees at Izzy's?
Yes,
And you stated that you would take any type of complaint seriously.
absolutely.
So if someone were to come to you stating that they were or felt that they were being sexually harassed, what would you do?
I would address it immediately. There's no room for that here.
Is there a policy in place at Izzy's dealing with sexual harassment?
No, I've never had to put a policy in place.
Were you ever able to make contact with Miss Lamoreaux on the day she sent you the text message in March?
I believe we did finally talk over the phone.
And during that conversation, did you discuss the incident?
Somewhat. I know there was something else involved that she was upset with. I honestly think she was upset that we were out on vacation, and that kind of drove her to an angry point. I'm not sure.
Why do you believe she'd be angry that you were on vacation?
I don't know.
So it's your belief or contention that the incident, at least her alerting you to the incident, was unprompted by anything that you did per se?
Correct.
I'm going to draw your attention to an incident that was alleged by Ms. Lamoreaux in December of 2017 as it relates to the complaint that you have there in front of you. It is during the date or time in and around December 2017 that Ms. Lamoreaux claims that you and your husband and also another female coworker were there in the bar area talking about bra sizes. Do you recall that incident?
I don't recall it at all.
Do you recall at any time being in the bar area discussing anything with Ms. Lamoreaux either before, during, or after her shift?
No, I don't recall that day at all. I was very confused when I read it.
Okay. Confused when you read the complaint?
Yeah.
What was the confusion, ma'am?
Because I don't recall the date that ever happening.
So
that would be something I would remember, I would think,
So it's your contention that this, you don't recall and or this possibly did not happen. Is that a fair representation? Yeah. Okay. At any time during this particular incident, do you recall your husband allegedly grabbing the breast of Ms. Lamoreaux?
Not at all.
Do you recall ever hearing Ms. Lamoreaux make any statements or comments about herself at all in any way in a sexually suggestive nature?
At that time or in general?
At that time, or if there's another time that you have knowledge of, yes.
At that time, no. She did. There was inappropriate conversation with my waitresses that she had. I had underage waitresses that I felt her advice to them as being a woman was inappropriate.
When you state that the conversation was inappropriate, could you elaborate on that?
To kind of express it with a little more, not being so vulgar, these were young girls that have worked for me for some time and came up to me with concerns because she was advising them work that pussy, make that money, and that for me that is not a policy. We work because we are proud women, not because of our physical nature. You know what I mean? I don't know how to.
How did you become aware of that comment being made?
I'm going to go ahead and object to this line of questioning.
They had
This
come
is
to
not
me.
relevant. I want to object to this line of questioning.
Okay, and what is its relevance on the
line of questioning, Your Honor, that I'm getting to is whether Mr. or Mrs. Sevickas condoned an environment that was sexually, where sexual harassment would be condoned and or welcomed by them.
How is that relevant to this case?
I believe it's highly relevant.
I mean, my understanding is that she is trying to say that to give examples of how she responded to issues regarding sexually inappropriate things in the workplace.
Your Honor, with all due respect, it sounds like they're trying to make the argument that she was asking for it, which is inappropriate and not relevant.
No, hold it. My understanding is, that part of the situation that it won't. I mean, I'm not a jury, and dealing with that. The issue in the case is the respondent's action and whether they violated the law. I believe that I am fully capable of not going there. In the situation, and my understanding is that she is, especially since in the matter that all the incidents that are being alleged of sexual harassment that they are claiming did not happen, or that, as far as situation, so they cannot present evidence as to of what happened when something was alleged to her. So my understanding is that I will admit it as dealing with evidence as to her response when she heard anything that she viewed as sexually inappropriate. It is not going to go to, my understanding is that you do have a cross that is, dealing with any references, anything that she brings up that you didn't go into, which is obviously isn't that is something that she went into, that you can have her testify on cross if you want to. But again, I'm not going to make any findings of whether or not she did it, because for that action, it's hearsay. It's not, I can't, this is hearsay for this truth as to whether she made any such comment, because she is saying that somebody told her that she said X, which is hearsay for its truth. But she's just talking about, so I can't, it is not admissible, and for whether or not she did it, it's just testimony as to what her response was when something like that has been raised. So I'll overrule the objection, but knowledge in the matter that first of all, that legal argument is not, my understanding, is irrelevant or part of the law. Secondly, that dealing with the that it's being admitted for her response to hearing about a issue. And I just will note in the matter that as far as the work circumstances, that in my understanding of Wisconsin law, that you cannot, there are a variety of things, including having any part of your certain parts of your body touched, that they cannot be made welcome. I mean, people should not have to, under Wisconsin law, under the situation, put up with either being touched, and especially on the breasts and the part, or having anybody expose themselves. There's not any, my understanding is that on those areas, that those are not part of acceptable job duties, and there's nothing that I know of doing work situations that could make those things somebody indicate that they would be welcome. So anyway, I just want to respond to that, but I will overrule to go ahead with the situation just on the question as to how she has responded when somebody has raised the issue regarding something inappropriate happening. Go ahead to the next question, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Sevegas, As I was asking earlier, when you are made aware of any comments or any type of inappropriate behavior that's being known to you in the workplace, how do you handle it and how do you respond to that?
I handle it immediately, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, I take it seriously, and it definitely gets discussed and resolved.
But there's nothing that's written down as far as any formal policy or procedure?
No, there isn't.
Okay, would you offhand know how many times these type of incidences may occur within your establishment?
Very rarely. I don't have a big turnaround with employees. A lot of my employees are long term, and I've just never really had many issues.
Okay, as it relates to this matter we're here for today, as it relates to the payroll handling in your company, who's responsible for that primarily?
Me,
You are responsible for that.
yes.
When Miss Lamoreaux was hired, were you there at the time she was hired?
I know we discussed it. The actual date, I don't think so, but I know my husband and I did discuss hiring her and bringing her on to the team.
Did you discuss at any time when she will be paid or the frequency with which she will be paid?
No, but our cooks get paid every week, and the waitresses are biweekly.
Are you aware of any time where Miss Lamoreaux may not have been paid on time?
Possibly, sometimes it's a day late. And there was also advances as well.
With regards to her, but there's, to your knowledge, she was paid on a fairly consistent basis. Would that be accurate to say?
Yes.
Okay. As it relates to her work performance while they're at Izzy's, were there any complaints that you were aware of?
A lot. Coming in on time, coming in at all, leaving early before her duties were done. Things along, and then on top of it, like the Thursday dishwashing. I had huge problems because I'm a waitress on Thursdays, and she just wasn't. She'd be out smoking. She wouldn't be putting the groceries away. She wouldn't be doing dishes. And then she would leave it. She would just leave it.
At any time during her tenure there, given what you just shared here, did you ever speak with her about her work performance?
Absolutely.
What was there a corrective plan that was taken in regards to that, or what was the outcome of those conversations?
I basically told her, if you can't keep up on Thursdays, I can't have you do this position. I need these groceries. You cannot leave 4 flats of eggs sitting out till noon when my truck gets there at 8, and you come in at 8:30, 9 o'clock. You got to be there at 8. That's when the shift starts.
So as part of her duties, is it your contention that she was supposed to have been there to unload the truck and put away groceries?
Correct, on Thursdays, yep.
Okay, and when you talked to her about that, did the situation get better or did it get worse?
It got worse, and there were times where she didn't come in at all. It would leave us in a huge bind. So I find somebody else that can do it.
You'll need to restate that because you broke up.
I had made her very well aware that if she could not perform her duties for that shift, I will have to replace her with somebody that can do those duties.
And you made that clear to her?
Yes, and I gave her plenty of opportunity.
Okay, what was her response, if any?
She would try, she would try, she would try.
In your role at Izzy's, was there any time that she was not paid simply because she could not perform the tasks?
No.
In her tenure there, did she ever, outside of this particular incident, ever discuss with you any sexual harassment that may have been taking place in the workplace?
No, never.
Have you at any time, or anyone, have you at any time ever commented on her looks?
I did have a problem with her attire for cooking in a kitchen, yes. And just the same, my waitress is the same thing. My staff cannot come in, armpits exposed, midriffs exposed. You have to dress appropriate.
And you made this clear to Ms. Lamoreaux as the time she was employed?
Yep.
Okay. What did she say, if anything?
Oh, that she would just get very warm and things of that nature.
On the night of the alleged incident in January 2018, were you at Izzy's on that evening?
I don't think I was.
So you would have no knowledge if either her and or Chris ever left the establishment together?
No.
As you are aware from the complaint, it is alleged that your husband had asked or was looking for one employee, I believe the name was Audrey, and could not find her, and then subsequently came across Ms. Lamoreaux. The reason being that he wanted to have someone take him to a friend's house to get a money bag. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and that makes no sense. Our money is in a safe or in the bank. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so let me ask you in that regard, would there be an occasion where either you or your husband would need to go to a friend's house to pick up a money bag for your business?
Absolutely not. Never.
Outside of this particular incident here, was there any other incidents of sexual harassment in your workplace that you are aware of?
No.
Are you aware of any time or any reason that, strike that, at any time during your tenure and supervision of Ms. Lamoreaux, do you recall her ever walking off of the job?
Yes.
Would you please go to ERDC 082, I believe it is.
We're seeing your ceiling now, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the. What is the number again?
Hold on, I may have given you the wrong number. Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Sorry. That would be ERDR002. I'm sorry, that was mine.
Okay, got it.
In this particular text message exchange, it appears that this is between her and Mr. Gisevikas. In this particular exchange, I believe it takes place March 16th. She states that, fuck this, I'm done. Did you talk to Mr. Gisevikas about this particular exchange?
This particular one, I'm not sure. It happened quite often. It was always turmoil. This one, I know she was supposed to help with prep, but this particular incident, I don't remember exactly what happened this day.
Was there any other time that you recall Ms. Lamoreaux walking off the job?
Yes, I remember. My hostess at the time, Richie, had called me.
Do you know what time that was, perhaps?
That would have been in March because I was out of town. I was on my vacation.
So, to your knowledge, what took place when she allegedly walked out of the establishment?
I believe she walked out. She went into her vehicle, smoked a cigarette or something like along that line, and then came back in and came. I believe she came back to work that day. But it seemed like this happened more and more when we were out of town on vacation.
But you yourself didn't physically see her walk off of the job, just more of a secondhand knowledge. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be? Are you aware of any adverse actions that may have been taken against her due to the alleged rebuke of the incidents that are laid out in the complaint?
No.
Would it be fair? Would it be your contention here that she was never not paid because she rejected in advance of Mr.
Of course
Giuseppe?
not. Of course not.
But to your knowledge and recollection, she was always paid timely. Well, not timely, but she was always
Every
paid,
week. Yep.
but never not paid. Sorry for the double negative there.
Right.
Simply because of this incident.
Correct.
All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just getting my notes together here. I just have a few questions for you, Mrs. Giuseppe.
Sure.
Okay, so you testified that there were very few complaints of sexual harassment or discrimination that ever reached you. Did you ever keep records of any of those complaints?
No, because it really isn't an issue in my companies.
When you hire a new employee, do you tell them what they can do if they experience sexual harassment?
No, I don't have a policy in place. No.
Who can they go to if they experience sexual? Let me strike that question. If one of your new waitresses, for example, experiences sexual harassment from a customer, do they know they can go to you?
Oh, absolutely. We've had that happen, between a bar and a restaurant.
Of course. Now, if they experience sexual harassment from one of the cooks, do they go to you?
Yes, but it doesn't ever happen. I have a very long-term employees that they're here to work,
Okay, now if someone did experience sexual harassment by your husband, is there anyone they could go to?
They could come to me, and they know that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I will ask that you let me finish my question just so that we have a clean record. So your attorney and my attorney, I am the attorney, my own self can.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's quite all right. Now, if one of your new employees did experience sexual harassment by Chris, is there anyone other than you, his wife, that they could go to talk about it?
I do always have a head waitress, and so they could always go to her as well.
Okay, and do you tell employees that when they start working?
I guess so. Not particularly in those exact words, but yes. If they have questions, if they have problems, I have a head bartender, I have a head waitress, there's me or Chris.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned earlier in your testimony an incident where some of your waitresses had felt uncomfortable by something that they believed that Jamie said. Did you ever talk to Jamie about those comments?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay, and do you recall when that was?
She was only here for a short time, so probably her second month in.
Okay, so there's some dispute about when she was hired, so it was either in November or January?
I'm not sure.
That's okay. That's okay. Let me see. Did Jamie ever meet with you to discuss her relationship with your two cooks?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. Did Jamie ever meet with you to discuss her relationship with the two cooks?
Oh, we talked all the time.
Okay. And did she ever express that she was feeling talked down to or treated badly by them?
No, she expressed her struggles with substance abuse. I am in a position where I can help women, and I do all the time, young girls and women. And I was adamant on helping her with an opportunity in this company. What she usually expressed is dropping the ball. And that was the only issue she had with my cooks. They'd come in, prep wasn't done. They'd come in, the kitchen was, her duties weren't done at night. So when they came in the morning, and then that falls back on us, and I have to deal with it with the person lacking on the job.
So it's your testimony that she never expressed that she was treated badly by those two men.
I don't think they saw eye to eye because she wasn't doing her daily performances, just like any other employee if they had a problem.
Okay, can I turn your attention to the exhibit number C082, please? Now, these exhibits are kind of funny because they a little bit go backwards in time. So let me know when you get there.
Okay.
So I'm looking at C082. Do you see the date in the middle of the page, about 3/4 of the way down?
Yes.
Okay. March 16th. Okay. So, and the first line, hey, can you please come back in? I actually want you to flip one page back. And on C081 is really that text. I just wanted to make sure that we had that date. You see, hey, can you please come back in? Do you see that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, this text message, it's my understanding, was between you and Miss Lamoreaux. You said not sure what these boys did. And she tells you she's very upset. Did you ever discuss with her what, did the boys reference the cooks?
Yes. And I'll go back to what I was saying. It was the issues that she wasn't doing her job at night.
Okay.
She was stocking the prep table. She wasn't doing her prep. So then when she would come in, you know, it's they basically have the attitude, you know, we'll just do it ourselves.
Okay. Okay. Was most of your communication with Miss Lamoreaux via text message?
No, most of it was face to face.
Okay, and if she was sick or not able to come in, would she, and she needed to communicate that to you, would she do it via text?
Sometimes, or she'd call, or, you know, we talk here because I'm always here too.
Okay. Okay, I just have a few more questions for you. You had testified earlier that if someone came to you with an issue or a concern of harassment or discrimination, you would discuss it and resolve it immediately. Am I accurately stating your testimony?
Correct.
Now, when Jamie spoke with you on the phone on March 27th and told her that your husband exposed his penis to her in the car and tried to get her to touch it and put her mouth on it, did you tell her that you would investigate that claim?
Yeah. And I did talk to him about it. Yes.
Okay. And did you ask Jamie for more details?
Yes, that's why I called her.
Okay. If you can turn to C213 for me. Oops, no, that's not the one. Hang on.
C213?
Yes, but that is not.
I don't have that one.
That's all right. Let me find it. Sorry about this. I'm taking notes while you were testifying. Okay, it's C213. That's right. Do you have that?
Oh, Ms. Archer, we lost you.
Me? Have you lost me? Am I back?
Now you're back.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Are you at C213?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my understanding, the text message that you exchanged with Miss Lamoreaux after your phone call with her on March 27th. Is that correct?
No, it says right here, the least you can do is answer your phone. And I remember this day clearly. She wouldn't answer her phone. She sent me this big text, and I called and called and called her to talk about it, and she wouldn't answer her phone.
Okay, so above is the first time you had heard earlier in this text message, just a few messages up. That's the first time you had heard this report.
I had messaged her. This is out of order. I had messaged her if she walked out again, and then that's her response was all the allegations, and then that's when I was trying to call her to talk.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Will you go to C212?
And then she eventually answered.
Okay, please let me ask the questions. Thank you. Will you turn to C212?
Okay.
Okay, you see it says March 27th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she starts with, so yeah, and then makes the report of this allegation. And then if you turn to the next page, 203, you can see that. And she says, I'm the disrespectful one. Oh, she shows you what she sent him. You asked if she walked out of her job. You tried to get her to answer the phone, and your response was, you're something special. There's a time and place. A woman would know that.
Mm-hmm.
What is that time and place? What are you referring to?
A time and a place would probably be in person and not over a text message, especially if it was, something that serious of an allegation.
So it's
or at least when I'm in town, not across the country.
So when you say you're something special, there's a time and a place, a woman would know that?
Yeah.
Your understanding is what you were trying to convey was that you took her allegations seriously and you would investigate it fully when you returned to the restaurant?
No, I talked to her on the phone about that.
So then
and at this time,
please let me ask the questions. Please let me ask the questions. You're answering the questions, okay? You'll get a chance to work with your attorney after this, okay? When you say you're something special, that occurs. Is it your testimony that you sent that after you spoke with Jamie on the phone?
I'm not sure when I sent that.
So you may have sent that before you spoke with her on the phone?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, redirect. Any redirect?
There we go. Not for me. No, thank you.
Okay, then, ma'am, thank you, and you're excused.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. And Mr. Lloyd, do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I have one other, a Miss Audrey Johnson, who I believe should be in the room.
Okay, and that in dealing with, okay, and she is just there by phone, is that right? Or you? Are you?
She's going to be video.
Ms. Johnson, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, okay. Not getting a video. You just hear by phone?
Yes, I'm not that great with technology. I'm sorry. Do you need video?
Well, I mean, if you have it, but if you don't, we'll deal with, without video. But I just wanted to, do you have, are you just calling in by phone or are you,
I'm on the app. Yep.
okay, so you don't have video or can, you don't have video on the equipment that you have?
Oh, I think I found it. Go.
There's a place that says start video. Ah,
there she is.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we have. Okay, so then in the, ma'am, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, then go ahead, Mr. Lloyd. Could you, and that is Audrey, well, go ahead and spell your name.
My name is Audrey Johnson, Udrey. Johnson is Johnsson.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Johnson, were you employed at Izzy's Dockside Diner between the time period of December 2017 and March 2018?
Yes.
In what capacity?
I waitressed and hosted.
At any time during your employment there at Izzy's, did you become or are you familiar with Miss Jamie Lamoreaux?
Yes.
In what way are you familiar with her?
I was acquainted with her through working with her.
Did you work directly with her?
I was waitressing and she was a cook.
I want to take you reference an incident that took place in or around December 2017. Ms. Lamoreaux alleges that during that time frame that there was some discussion at the bar between herself, Mr. and Mrs. Gisevikas, and other female employees. Would you recollect that at all at this particular point in time?
I don't recall that particular conversation.
At any time that you were employed there, do you recall ever having drinks at the bar with Ms. Lamoreaux?
Yes.
Do you recall any conversation taking place regarding women's bra sizes at any point in time?
Not in a professional capacity on the clock at all.
At any time, be it on the clock or after the shift ended.
Okay, so in a social capacity, we talked about a lot of things.
This was at the bar, is that correct?
At Izzy's pub?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, we spoke there. We spoke outside of the bar. I don't recall that conversation.
Do you recall at any time being in the establishment and witnessing Mr. Gisevikas at any time comment on Ms. Lamoreaux's appearance?
No.
Do you recall at any time being in the restaurant or the establishment, and do you recall if Mr. Gisevikas ever touched the breast of Ms. Lamoreaux?
No.
Do you recall at any time if there were any sexual comments directed to Ms. Lamoreaux by Mr. Gisevikas or any of the other employees there?
No.
At any time during your tenure at Izzy's, did you ever experience or have any comments of any sexual nature directed to you by Mr. Gisevikas or anyone else?
Customers only, not Mr. Gisevikas.
So more customers, but not Mr. Gisevikas?
Right.
During your tenure at Izzy's, do you recall if there was ever a policy in place to deal with sexual harassment or anything of that nature?
It's hard to recall if that's in the book, but we have some policy. I would always just speak to Mrs. Gisevikas about anything like that.
So if something were to come up, it would be fair to say that you would just be able to talk directly to either Mr. or Mrs. Gisevikas.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I can't really hear your responses, and I don't know if it's just me. I'm concerned about the recording, but I can't really hear what you're saying. Is there any way to speak up?
Okay, I will get closer. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, if you're not getting something in particular, I got it, so I think it'll be recorded. Ms. Archer, You know, then please, if you don't get something, ask to repeat it.
During your tenure there, to your knowledge, do you have any knowledge, or were you aware of at any time that Ms. Lamoreaux may have walked out on her job while working?
Yes.
Could
More
you
than
elaborate
once.
on that, please?
All right. There were at least 2 or 3 instances where she had walked off of her shift outside of the restaurant or outside. 2 of those times she did not come back. The one time she did come back in, if I'm remembering correctly.
Do you have any idea what prompted her to leave the premises?
I remember her being very frustrated that either she couldn't do something in time, such as making food quickly enough to get that to the customers, or there was a time I wanted to do my duties as a waitress, and she was asking me to help her in the back, and I said I couldn't do it. So she had gone outside. I can't remember if that was when she came back or not.
But it's your testimony here that there was an incident where she was requesting you to assist her with her duties. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. At any time during your interactions with Ms. Lamoreaux and during you guys' time there at Izzy's, do you recall her ever complaining about any type of harassment on the job?
No.
With regards to Ms. Lamoreaux asking your assistance to help with a task to be completed, is that something that you actually ended up helping her with, or no?
I helped her a couple of times with floors fryer. There's a lever on the fryer that she couldn't get. She said she wasn't strong enough to pull it. So I just went back and did it for her that one time.
And with regards to your tenure there at Izzy's, did you yourself receive training for your position?
Yes.
To your knowledge, is that typical that most employees that start there receive training of some sort?
Oh yeah, yes, for sure.
If there was an incident of some sort of harassment and or a question about assigned tasks and things of that nature, would you feel comfortable in speaking with Mr. or Mrs. Gisevikas about that?
Yes.
Are you aware of any disrespectful or strike that? Are you aware of any comments of any sexual nature that were made by Miss Lamoreaux while she was employed at Izzy's?
Yes.
Do you have personal knowledge of that?
I do. She brought inappropriate humor into the workplace a lot. And we have minors working there, so I remember making a comment to her that we need to keep it PG, and yeah, I remember that.
When the comments were made that you testified that you've heard, could you describe what these comments were?
I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember having to speak to her directly about the appropriateness of it.
In your time there at Izzy's, do you feel that the environment was hostile or unwelcoming at all?
No.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you.
Okay, Cross.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, I just didn't hear, did you say you are no longer employed at Izzy's?
No, I ended my employment there last September to pursue a career as a mechanic.
Okay, I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
Okay, then thank you very much, Ms. Johnson, and you're excused.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, any other witnesses?
I don't believe so, Your Honor, but if I may have a moment to speak with Mr. Jasevicus on the phone, just to confirm that, I would appreciate a couple minutes.
And just to, and at the same time in the matter, and I just wanted to check, Ms. Archer, are you planning or viewing that you want to, do you want rebuttal testimony or not?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so then I will just make it a couple minutes rather than starting off the other. I will just pause briefly for you to call, and I'll wait for you.
Thank you.
All right, then, do you have additional testimony, Mr. Lloyd?
At this time, Your Honor, no, we have no additional testimony.
Okay, so my understanding is you rest. I believe I've dealt with all the exhibits, correct?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay, and my understanding is that Ms. Archer, you don't have any rebuttal, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so then my understanding is the record is closed other than the 2 weeks for you to, the matter, and there are some, some dates that I can see, and there are things that are blank, and also, I just simply to note when you do the list of the things, if you if they're legible, you can just put, this page legible or whatever. So we have kind of a legible, agreed, having a clue as far as any page. Okay.
Your Honor, would you like, are you picturing sort of like a spreadsheet with the exhibit numbers?
Right.
And the dates? Okay.
Yeah, and just basically dealing with that, essentially, buy for those things, all the exhibits, and just say, if it's legible, then it's fine. And the situation, if you can agree on it, just say, this date, and if so just I can match up the bait snap number with the dates for the question, because there some that there's definitely issues as to what day of the week it is, is an impact, and it doesn't seem like that should be that long a task, but certainly it will. It's not going to be in some places that there is also the my understanding is that the date for things is going to be above whatever the text. And, just for example, and I just want to be clear on this, like if you go to C220, which is where I happen to be on. Okay.
Hang on just a moment.
To C220. And at the top of the second to the top, after a while, Jamie, that there is a Friday, March 16th. So it's clear that the messages on the left are from March 16th. My understanding, there's no date above the inverted bubble, but the assumption is that that's also that date. And so that date stays the same until we get down to the next page where we get a Wednesday, March 21st.
Your Honor, that is not my understanding, and I do want to say all of these that many of these text messages we don't have. I'm sorry, how do I say this? Many of these text messages are actually backwards. So if you take 220 and then go to 219.
I mean that
No.
there's but 219, they have a Friday,
Oh,
March.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. There are some text messages.
I'm just, the thing is in dealing with the matter, and that this is something to look at as well. My understanding from 220
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I agree. Sorry.
is that everything between the Friday, March 16th, 4 something PM mark on the top of 220, down to the next page, the Wednesday, March 21st, that all that occurred on the same, that's Friday, March 16th. The bubble stuff that followed is on the 16th too, because there's not a new date. Right?
Yes, Your Honor. That's my understanding too.
Is that your understanding, Mr. Lloyd, that if I go down and the situation that if there isn't a date, it's on the same date as it was in the preceding one. Like if you go down to, if you go down to 222, again, that there's a situation where a March 27th date with the thing on the left side, and then there's a couple of responses on the right side. But my understanding is that is all from that date until we get down. Okay, and my understanding is that's all on that date until we get down to I don't know where the next date is. I mean, is that all the same date up until, you know, are we on the same date until we hit, I'm looking for the next date.
I'm sorry, can you tell me what exhibit number we're on? I think I lost this somewhere.
Well, I just was trying to figure out, let me just see in the section, I started at boy, if they're I'm on page 241 and I haven't seen a date since 222. And I'm wondering if that's all the same.
Your Honor, it is. It is all the same day. It's the final day of her employment.
Okay, well, I mean, it's saying in the matter, let me just see as far as to, that my understanding is on page 246, we have a Monday, April 9th. So if I'm correct in the matter that that is all the same date until that one on, you know, just to check, I'm going to view, unless you tell me otherwise, that it's all on the same, that if, you know, in this case, that it goes from 222, I think, where that started, until 246, and it's all on the same date. So, anyway, that it's going to be my assumption that you have the dates of dealing with things and everything is on that until there's another date. And so, So anyway, that just wanted to check and make sure. I found in this that it's amazing what you find out when you ask questions, and that I have been known to be wrong. I know it's hard for you to believe that we could be, but I think it's better to check. And so when you're doing that, I mean, obviously in the matter that makes it easy for you to. So again, I guess what I'm asking for is, since obviously you don't need to repeat that page number, you don't need to every page do 223, 224, 25, same date. Just basically say, okay, the next date change is here, so that all those pages are that date, and that'll save you typing or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
So if you just go to say the next date is on that page and what it is, then we'll be able to figure that out. So we have the, so I can get the chronology. I do like trying to figure out the order of things. That's just, what I'll try to do. So is there anything else that would be helpful to address on this?
If we could just identify the dates for just to make sure that I understand for both this spreadsheet and the briefs.
It's basically 2 weeks and then 30 days. And if the two of you want to, say, or, a few days here or there, it's not going to matter. Just send me an email if if 30 days after, basically, I'm sure that you two are going to get that to me as, reasonable as you can in the matter, and just say, okay, here that is, and we've agreed on briefs by what date, and that will be fine.
And that's 30 days. 30 days roughly from the submission of the text messages?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else we need to deal with?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both. And I thought that this, this is number 2 and dealing with the situation. This one a lot cleaner than my first one in the situation. And so I appreciate your thing, that it's just for me, for everybody, this is all we got. So we're not going to ask people to come in and get sick, and certainly up in your neck of the woods, it's not looking good. Northeast Wisconsin is one of the hot spots. And so, I wish you both, Mr. Lloyd, you were going to say something?
No, I was just saying, I concur. It's true.
I just wish you health, and so then you get that to me, and it won't have much weight for me on the decision.
Thank you, Judge Sharp.
Thank you, and
All right.
the record is closed.
Everyone take care.